Alright, so today we're doing a little side-by-side update. Here's kind of where I'm at right now. Just still trying to do some test fitting. You can see I finally got my hardware pieces to mount my torque converter to the engine. And right now I'm just kind of trying to lay out how this thing's going to look with the chain. You can see I kind of got a straight edge laying across the rear sprocket here. And that's shooting straight to the front, so I can try to line up that front sprocket, which you can kind of see in the middle of your screen. That guy right there, that little black guy. So what I'm looking at now is basically clearances and how this is all going to lay out. And the thing I'm starting to get worried about here is as this torque converter starts functioning, this rear pulley is going to widen as the ratio changes. And as I'm looking at this, I'm realizing if I drop this thing down so it fits flush underneath the seat, this pulley is actually going to start contacting this support bar for my brake lever mechanism. So I'm starting to wonder if this under the seat mounting location is actually even going to work. In my last update video, my general spring update video, I'd asked the question and basically was wondering if you guys thought I should mount the engine on the back here on this this rear area, which is a thought I had after editing my last update video. It looked like it would be a lot easier to just mount this thing back here, but at the same time I kind of wanted to build a little truck body at the end that I could haul stuff around. And a lot of you overwhelmingly said, yeah, put the motor on the back. Quite a few of you still even said leave the motor under the seat because aesthetically it looks better and stuff like that. And I kind of tend to agree that was the sort of direction I wanted to go. But it's starting to look like I actually have to mount the engine on the back, which kind of sucks because even I sort of wanted to keep it under the seat. But realistically, mounting it on the back will make things a lot easier for me as far as fabrication and getting this thing up and running. I won't have to mess with the exhaust. I won't have to mess with raising the seat. I won't have to cut up the front part of the subframe where the engine's going to actually set. And I won't have any contact issues. The only thing I might have to do is rotate the torque converter around 180 degrees to the front, build some sort of cradle back here to hold the motor, and then maybe a small amount of shielding to keep it from getting splashed by the engine. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to start working on building some mounting brackets for this motor on the back, I guess, unfortunately. Not exactly what I had planned, but what the hell. I want to get this thing done, so in the name of progress, let's do it. So you can see we've got the torque converter clocked 180 degrees in the opposite direction, so that should work out nicely. I am also in the process of trying to build an engine mount support. As you can see here, I've essentially created this T-bar thing. The mounting plate, which is currently bolted to the bottom of the engine right there, is going to sit right on top of this, with this bar being in the very center. And we're going to weld it up on all sides. It's kind of a hokey, weird, funny little design, but it's the only thing that I could do. The only way I could mount it and still be able to access all the mounting bolts for the engine and still be able to drain the oil out of the front side. So it's kind of necessary. But let's go ahead and test fit this thing and see what it's going to look like. And for those of you saying that this is going to put too much weight on the rear end, that I'm going to lose my steering, this engine really only weighs like 35 pounds. So any person sitting on the seat up here will pretty much negate that difference. So I'm not really that worried about it. I think it'll be okay. And if it's not, then we'll just put badass gnarly front tires on it. Alright, so right there you kind of see it. It does look a little odd. This engine does hang off the back quite a bit, which kind of bothers me, but I think I'm gonna cage it in, pipe this whole thing in so there'll be no risk of getting smashed from the rear. Not that this thing even has reverse, but if somebody hits it from the back or something along those lines, that would be a very bad thing. I'm still gonna line it up perfectly, but you can see it's gonna be a very short chain. I mean, there's the drive sprocket, there's the axle sprocket. So the whole chain's probably going to be like maybe 18 inches in circumference, which is not bad. It would be really easy to tighten it, keep tension on it, whatnot. But basically the next step is going to be making sure I've got this mounting plate square and maybe tacking it down. I got to remove this engine to do that. But first I've got to actually make damn sure I've got this lined up perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Tack weld this sucker and then pull this motor back off. And then it's time for more welding. So that's what we have so far. I just gotta check it for square with this guy. Make sure everything is where I want it. I know the chain is lined up perfect, but still I want to check it anyways. And then I got a lot of welding to do. I gotta weld this area over here back to the frame a little harder, as well as this side. Pretty much everything's tacked in except for that lower support, because obviously I can't get to that thing as easily once this mounting plate is in place. Yeah, we are making some progress. There we go. Engine plate is mounted, welded down. It's pretty secure. I can still access all the mount bolts. So let's go ahead and bolt this engine down, hopefully for the last time here, and maybe run a chain to the sprocket. Alright, so the engine is bolted back down. I haven't hooked up the drivetrain yet. One thing I wanted to try before I got everything all hooked up was to actually test fire this motor. So I filled it up with oil, I put some gasoline in the gas tank, and you can see I actually rotated the recoil start so I can pull it from the back. A lot easier, you can tell by the sticker being kind of upside down. So let's give this thing a fire and see what happens. Alright, here goes. Two poles. Give it a little gas. Well, you know she runs, so now I'm going to go ahead and hook up some chains and the torque converter stuff and see if we can actually drive these wheels. Alright, so working on getting this tab hooked up. You can see I got the chain on there, so everything's running. Couple pieces of advice for anybody who's ever going to use one of these torque converters. Something you should consider, especially if you're using a master link, which you can see my master link right here. It's kind of hard to see. But the one thing you want to make sure you do is the clip side of the master link, the side that's got the removable piece. You want to put that side on the backing plate side of your torque converter. The reason being, I ran into this problem with my racing mower, is on these torque converters, as you can see it spins, there's these little rivets, 4 rivets that hold this thing together. And if the clip side of the master link, which actually protrudes a little bit past the actual link, will actually catch on that and break itself. I had a big problem with going through master links on the racing mower go-kart build I did a couple of years ago, and that was one of the big reasons. Normally I would use my chain brake and just make a continuous chain and not worry about master links, but since this chain is so short, and I've since figured out what the problem was, I'm going to use a master link on this build, considering it'll be much easier to remove the chain or remove the engine in the event that I need to do something like that. Something else I want to let you know is these torque converters, you got to make sure they are lined up perfect, because the belt is asymmetric, which means one side is flat and one side is not. And as you can see right there, this does not line up at all. So I need to get some spacers to get that thing bumped out a little bit. It's a really good way to destroy your belts. If you don't do this step, it'll work, but sometimes at idle speed it'll still try to engage the clutch even though it's technically not engaged. And it'll also just chew up your belts really quick and you'll have rubber dust everywhere. So I'm going to work on getting some spacers on this bad boy, and then hopefully by the next time you see this I will be able to start it up and drive these rear wheels. Alright, so the torque converter is completely put together and installed. This crank bolt, again, they gave me the wrong freaking one, so I had to use one of mine that I found in a shop, but as you can see it was too long, so I actually used a lug nut as a pass-through so it could shim the bolt out a little bit. So that should work. It's tightened down. Everything seems like it works. So we're going to give this engine a fire and see how she drives these rear wheels. Obviously it'll probably be fine, but what the hell? We all want to see it anyways, don't we? Alright, here goes nothing. she definitely drives the rear wheels. This one looks like it's warped in the video, I'm sure. But what it is that it's totally deflated. I need to get an inner tube for this guy before I run this thing with people in it. But other than that, those rear tires were actually spinning pretty fast. I'm guessing this thing's going to do around 15, maybe 20 miles an hour. And it's got a ton of low end. So this thing will be the ultimate hill climbing machine / towing machine. You could load it up with a couple of adults, and I'm sure this thing is not going to bog down at all. It's going to have plenty of power. Like I said, it's not intended to go really fast. It's just intended to be torquey and fun and slow enough so the kids don't feel like their life is in danger. Obviously can't test the brakes until I get a throttle cable hooked up to this thing. Still need to couple all the little things with the inner tube, throttle cable. I got to build a seat tie down so the seat's not tempted to flop up and down, so I just got to be able to lock the seat in the down position. But other than that, I'd say it was good progress for the day. Engine's mounted, drivetrain's hooked up, engine runs, drives the wheels. I'm pretty psyched with the progress. Hopefully you guys are too. Let me know in the comments section. And something else about you guys talking in the comments section. Half of you that ask me questions that I don't respond, it's not because I don't want to. A lot of you have a contact block on your account. So what you should probably do is if you ask a question or comment in my video, try logging out of your account, coming back to the video and looking at your comment. A lot of times if there's no little reply link, there's only a thumb up or a thumb down, I can't respond to you. So I'm not ignoring you, I just have no physical way of talking to you if you have that contact block on. I'm not exactly sure how you shut it off. I'm sure it's in your settings somewhere, but check that before you blame me for not talking to you. But just something to keep an eye out for. I don't think a lot of people realize that that's even a thing. But you should definitely look into it if I haven't been talking to you in any of the videos. But other than that, let me know what you guys think about today's progress. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Unfortunately, we had to mount the engine to the back, which kind of sucks, but at least the engine is mounted. I don't think it would have even worked under the seat the more I measured stuff out, so at least there's something mounted somewhere. But yeah, inner tube, throttle cable, a couple other little doodads on this thing, and we'll be driving it soon. But that's going to do it for today's video. We'll see you in the next Redneck side-by-side update.